Hey everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to XRP. Once again, thank you for support. Okay, but the CoinsKid cruise, so XRP is trending above the bull market support band, roughly 11.8% above the BMS right now. So this index I created way back when, it's just an index on CoinsKid.com that you can come to and look, and you can find opportunities, and you can just spot the overall trend at the moment. Bitcoin is above the bull market support band. It's bullish in a golden cross, so you're trending above, and you're 5.6% above. Ethereum, sorry, I do apologize, is 27% above, and XRP is roughly 11% above. So in the top 10, if you take a look, we've got we've got Chainlink, which is 25% above, Hype, which is almost 40% above. Wow, that's going to offer us a short opportunity, and I'll go through that with you in a moment as to why. But Cardano right now is bullish, 13% above. We've got Tron, which is around about 13% above. So in the top 10, you can clearly see that XRP's lagging a little bit with Bitcoin, okay? Because I think it's really simple. The logic is there, and this is something I've been relaying to you for a very long time. I think XRP's had that whopping move of a third wave, a massive impulsive move. So, either XRP's running out of steam, it's got another little leg to the upside, or it's just consolidating a range and it's getting boring and people are getting, shaken out and bored, and it's typical fashion with XRP. We've been here a million times. But when we do spot that consolidation, we look at other opportunities, and this is what we do in the channel, to go short, go long. We trade the ranges and we make a lot of money doing so. Yesterday in the Bitcoin video, for anyone that caught it on the futures blocks, there was a lovely little trade on Ronin that's come down. Nice little trade right there that shown you how to do. And equally, you can use the micro signal and macro signal as your guide to a trade as well. So basically, looking at the micro signal, if you're looking for a trade today, then obviously the trade will be in the top 10 Cardano. The reason is because if you look at the micro signal, Bitcoin's in a sell warning, you've got Ethereum in a sell warning, you've got XRP in a sell warning, you've got Solana in a sell. So basically Solana's screaming short, we've got BNB screaming short, we've got Doge screaming short, we've got Tron screaming short, and we've got Cardano that's just basically going sideways. So if anything, I think Cardano is prepping up to catch the big dogs up. Okay, so basically here we're looking at a trade on the macro. What I'm looking at as a guide is the BMS, your bull market support. On the index right now in the top 10, you can clearly see that this coin here, Hype, is almost 40% above its bull market support band, and Solana as well, 30% above its bull market support band, screaming short on the micro. So I'll be looking to short Solana once it creates that micro bearish divergence. So stay tuned in the Discord for that update. Okay, now we've been trading these coins up, down, left, right, center. We don't just go long, we're not moon boys, we don't just buy spot and hold on to it. We trade the ranges on this channel. We make a lot of money and we have a lot of success, and I built a lot of tools and instruments to find them trades. Over the past couple of weeks in the futures blocks, we've had 40% shorts. Yesterday was a nice little short on that video that I've shown you on Ronin. Really simple process now to find your shorts using this index, but equally you can use this index here on the main index, your micro signal and your macro signal. So your big macro signal is for your spot positions. Way back when on Ethereum we had a macro signal telling us buy, basically, and the BMS, it was around about 40% below. So the opposite of it being below is above. So here it was offering you a long, and here being 40% above right now is offering you the short. So stay tuned for the Hype short, because I think the more that this comes up and escapes the bull market support band, the increased probability we've got of making a lot of money on that particular coin when it does roll over to come back in and test the BMS, which currently sits around about $40. So we're looking at a minimal 40% short trade on that, but I think it'll offer a greater trade than that in the time when it does begin to roll. So I'm looking for the signal for it to roll, and right now we're pushing into that sell zone on the macro, which is where we short these coins on the macro, basically. So again, this is just a simple method of way of looking at the coins without delving into the charts and things like that, and just seeing little signals for yourselves to trade in and out of these coins. So at the moment, Sui is in the neutral zone and Cardano is in the neutral zone. So for me, I think they're offering nice little long spots if you're looking for them to just catch up the micro on the rest of the market right there. So I know it's an XRP video, but I'm always looking for ways to help you make money in this space daily, weekly. There is money to be made in this space if you just apply a little bit of common sense and logic, and obviously risk management as well. So XRP, what's it doing right now? It's doing really well. It's broken out that $3 range. Like I said to you in yesterday's video, this move is a little bit lackluster though, isn't it? This move that's come up since last week, I think it was September the 1st, down here, you come up, it's a little bit lackluster. And if you look at this right now, possible 1 into a 2 into a 3 into a 4 into a 5, you come up into resistance right now that possibly may be some kind of inverse head and shoulders just there. You've got a left shoulder, here's your head, you're coming up, get resistance, and you begin to roll back into this range and break out. You've got a beautiful inverse head and shoulders pattern on the micro that brings you up into roughly, what would that be if we see that neckline broke? you're up here retesting the local highs at around about 340. So again, if we get a rejection here for XRP over the next couple of days and it does begin to roll back, we're looking for it to hold this high low, and then, you know, up there it goes, basically 344. If you move to the left, is there anything just there? Look at that God candle back test right on cue. So we may see a little rejection for XRP over the next couple of days, over the weekend, a little pullback here for XRP after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, little ABC coming back into this range here, hold this high low, break this neckline at roughly, I need to drop that in for you, at around about $3.08, hold it with power, boom, we're up here at 344, and we truly are breaking out into this God candle back test just there that you see on the 15 minute. We broke that without backtesting its support. So there may be a little bit of confluence right now in the charts that is your actual bottom for XRP, and it's working on an impulse correction and then a breakout to the upside. And we've got a massive inverse head and shoulders here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, boom, breakout, back test, see you later. That would be absolutely amazing, because like I said to you, if XRP can break that descending trend line, for me, you'll see the breakout, the back test confirms it, we go long, we put a stop on the previous pivot low, and we ride that bad boy out of there into new all-time highs for XRP. So let's dive into a couple more charts right now that for me, I don't necessarily think the top's in. Like I said to you, I'm not selling my XRP. I'm trying my hardest to try and find the ranges up and down, left, right and center and everything like that for you, but at the minute I'm not exiting my position, but I will exit my position once I see a couple of things in these charts, and let me show you exactly what they are right now. Okay, we'll go through them in detail. So the total 2 chart is a really important chart. The ticker is total 2. It's your cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin. We've looked at this many times over the years. With the BMS, your bull market support band, you can identify the current trend. So the BMS, the bull market support band, is an indicator you can get. It's really simple. Drop into your charts. Uptrend, downtrend, uptrend, uptrend. You know, you're trending above the BMS, okay, for a long period of time. So you're in a whopping uptrend. You know, so just here was looking at a pullback. For those people who've been on the channel, I was anticipating a pullback because of the overextended signals. You know, we've got the retail top at the time, which, you know, I've renamed to the dumb money indicator for yourselves, was screaming sell and screaming, you know, that the fact that retail had shown up in droves, and lo and behold, we got that whopping crash, a massive pullback. From late last year, it was a whopping crash of around about 48%. But like I said to you, I don't think it's the beginning of a bear market. I actually think we've got opportunity once we find the bottom in a crash and correction, and we was identifying them opportunities with Ethereum, you know, XRP, so on and so forth, and we found some beautiful buy zones. And from there, respectfully, if you're looking at this, you've had a 1 into a pullback, 2 into a 3 into a 4 into a 5. And like I've always taught you, 5 waves to the upside you don't buy, and 5 waves to the downside is where you buy, basically. So, you know, what we've got is some kind of A into a B into a C, a zigzag correction. Then again, what we've done here, we've come up in a 1, pull back 2, a huge 3, a pullback 4, and then boom, a 5. You know, you come upstairs right there and you're calling up like this. So if this continues to break to the upside, you know, it's consolidating a range in some kind of, you know, ascending triangle or A, B, C, D, E wave correction before continuation. If it does break this range, you know, takes out these local highs, and I think you're up here at a 1.272 at $1.94 trillion market capitalization for total 2. At that point, you know, I would anticipate some kind of pullback or correction, because we really are respecting the fibs in this particular chart. So if we go back in time, switch out to the daily, I can show you exactly how this particular indicator works. It just identifies the macro trend, you know, and the micro trend. So it works on any time frame. But if you take a look, just here, we've got the bull market support band. If we go back in time, you can clearly see we're taking off in space, and any time you see big gaps in the price action, this is the same for any chart, not just the total 2 chart, you slow down, you consolidate in a range, and you come back in. And this is exactly what we're seeing with XRP, and this is something I've shown you. So overextension leads to retracement. In this instance, when we got really overextended just there, I think it was around about 2017, you really overextended, taking off in space. And what happened was you got really overextended, and like I've taught you, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. Really overextended, and then you come back in, okay? And it's at this point you're losing the structure, you're flipping red, you're making lower lows and lower highs, you're coming down the stairs. And then what you're looking for is the opposite of overextension to the upside, where you've got a massive area of overextension between the BMS and the index. It's the same to the downside. So you got a whopping pullback. Oh no, it's going to 0. But this was a maximum opportunity, and you could clearly see it was with the overextension to the downside, the pure greed basically. And like I've taught you, you know, bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. So at this point, you start to reverse a trend. You're making higher highs, higher lows, and you're holding the BMS as it goes basically. So that was a whopping uptrend that formed off this low. Okay, it's the first time in a very long time where you're making higher highs and higher lows from getting through the BMS. So you moved to the right, you came up, you came back down, you was holding this support, okay, and you broke back up just there, and then boom, we had that corona dump in 2020. We lost it for a quick minute, retested this low, held it, lots of buying opportunities, and then boom, we continued this whopping uptrend. Okay, so this is where your maximum opportunities are in this market. You know, when there's blood, fear and depression, overextension to the downside, you know, you're looking at buying this chart. Okay, you're looking at buying crypto. So right now, if you look at it right now, you're not there. Basically, you should have been buying crypto here when I was relaying to you in the videos in April and spring. Buy here, guys. We've got macro signals, we've got buy signals on Ethereum, we've got overextension to the downside, we've got bullish divergence, things like that. You know, this is why I relay, and people get really annoyed and angry and things like that. If you're taking on buying crypto here, you're doing it wrong. This is where we were buying crypto. This is where we're buying crypto. Just there, okay, we're trying to trade crypto, we're trying to short it because the trend's up and everyone's getting extremely bullish and things like that. So we're just finding little short trades daily, which we're having a lot of success with. And obviously in time, I'm not applying, you know, thousands of dollars to crypto coins at this point here, because you are increasing the probability of risk because you're getting overextended. So if we have enough push to the upside, just there, you can clearly see we get really overextended from the BMS, and at that point, you know, you increase the probability of a pullback into that. It's just normal because overextension leads to retracement. Remember that bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered, and this chart here represents that. Pigs down there were getting slaughtered, pigs were getting slaughtered thinking it was going to continue, and equally down here thinking it was going to continue. So we use this chart in confluence, okay, you know, buy zones and opportunities. So when it's red, that's where your opportunities are in this crypto market, not necessarily when you're trending above, you know, and it's looking to be overextended, because you're taking on the risk of a pullback, especially if you start to enter 5-wave territory, which potentially, if you take a look from this low, 1, pullback 2, 3, having some kind of 4 into a final 5th wave move, okay, you could make a little bit of money at this point, but you increase the probability of a pullback at that point because of the overextension from the BMS. So at that point, comes back down, holds it fantastic, build more positions for the next leg up if we do see that. But you know, there's no moon boy, no bear boy or anything here. This could equally be the start of a whopping correction just there, where we come down, this is a 3-wave move back up, some kind of bull trap, and we do something like that into this range here. Again, absolutely possible. So again, you're taking on risk. If you're applying capital at this particular point right now, you're taking on risk, because I think we're near the end of an impulse here for this particular chart. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up into this zone here, okay, you're taking on risk if you're buying up here. Hope you understand what I'm trying to relay to you. This is where the risk should be taken, and it's a very minimal risk at that, okay, in these charts. So it's basically just using the BMS with a little bit of, you know, visual guidance as to your opportunities in this particular market. Obviously at the minute, I think coins are popping off and doing really well, but if we can see this resistance line being broken in some kind of ascending triangle, breakout backtest, I think we'll incur some kind of correction at the 1.272 at $1.94 trillion. Now there is another chart I've been looking at with yourselves for a very long time, which is a king of risk, which I said to you is the clue for XRP. These whole years we've been looking at the charts, I've been looking at it every single day with you. Lots of people are really bearish, but I'll remain bullish on XRP because of the king of risk. So what is the king of risk doing right now? Let's take a look at that chart, okay? So looking at the S&P 500, really simple chart to look at. It's a guide, it's a clue to the future of XRP. And like I said to you, this is number 1, Bitcoin's number 2, XRP is number 3. And this is the way you look at it. This is the king, XRP, Bitcoin, sorry, is the queen, and you know, XRP is its kid, basically. It's the minnows of risk that, you know, we pay attention to this particular chart because this is a clue to the future of crypto. If this chart's bullish, then XRP is bullish, even though it's not bullish at the time. And this is something I've been looking at with yourselves for a very long time. In confluence to this particular chart, we broke out in January of 2023. This was a very beautiful buying opportunity for XRP, and it's just this simple break, that simple close above that level of resistance right there. I said to you, wow, I expected an impulse here for XRP, and we got exactly that into the summer, and then we incurred that correction at the same time. So it's at the drawdown, but as it was breaking out and taking out that high just there, XRP wasn't doing much. But like I said to you, the clue is in the S&P 500. The king of risk is breaking out. It's doing incredibly well. So I think that will trickle down eventually to XRP, the minnows of risk. And lo and behold, it's trending up, it did. Okay, so we saw this chart break the all-time high. XRP was coming back, not really doing much, but like I said to you every single day, the fact that this is an uptrend to the 1.618, which is my primary target for this particular chart, I think XRP will catch it up eventually. And if you take a look, it did exactly that. You know, when we start to incur this correction, this expanded flat ABC, and again the C wave was representing the sharpness of the pullback in the S&P 500. You know, what we've seen is the same for XRP, an expanded flat correction. So I think the bottom was right on cue in both charts, and right now we'll continue the uptrend in the S&P 500. But what are we doing in the S&P 500? Well, it's really simple. Every time we hit these fibs, okay, we have some kind of correction in this chart. So again, we're approaching the 2 fib. So if we can trend up and get above it a little bit, I think we'll incur some kind of correction where we pull back and potentially continue into some kind of blow off top, which would be amazing. So if we do get above the 2 fib, the next target is the 2.272 at 7,237. Look at that for the S&P 500. That's crazy. Okay, that's mental. But that would begin to look really overextended for me, where I think we're coming for another big crash and correction. So keep an eye on this. A king of risk right now. We are approaching that 2 fib and obviously 2.272. Now I do think, if I'm just respecting what it's done before, correction there, correction there, correction there, correction there, correction there, you know, we do tend to sort of come up into the fibs and have a little pullback, which would make sense to me, to hold the BMS and then go again towards a 2.272 in that big parabolic blow off top phase, which would be absolutely amazing. And the king of risk is confluence to that. So going forward, if we take a look, you know, XRP, every time we hit these fibs, XRP comes back, hit that fib, XRP come back, hit this fib, XRP come back, hit this fib, XRP come back, obviously, as you're fully aware. And right now we're approaching this 2 fib, and XRP looks like it wants to come up, and if it does, it should have some kind of pullback, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the upside as the S&P is approaching that 2 fib. So again, you know, maybe a bit of confluence. Keep an eye on the S&P 500. If it does begin to roll over, then obviously, you know, we're in a lot of trouble in risk, which is obviously XRP as well. But so far so good. You know, we're respecting this chart, we're following this chart. It's a cheat sheet basically, and this is something I've taught you. You know, in these pullbacks, we did see pullbacks for XRP, but the breakouts taking out the range, XRP were in sideways. I remain incredibly bullish on XRP because of this particular chart. But at some point, this will roll over. When it does, we'll find the targets, and that will be your buy zones for XRP and confluence. Okay. So looking at Bitcoin dominance, simple, you know, we're looking for something like what we got there, the red sell dot, you break down, you turn it into resistance on the ribbon, and then boom, you drop to the downside. So at the moment, it looks as though that's poised, doesn't it? You know, we're sort of at this particular phase here where we've lost the ribbon, we consolidate under it, looking for that major drop to the downside, with the potential confluence of the fact that the S&P 500 has come up into the 2 fib, and obviously the altcoin, the total 2 chart, looks as though it's poised for that break to the 1.272. So we may be in some kind of vertical across the charts here, for the altcoins that are lagging XRP and the move from Ethereum. They're just basically catching the market up. So basically from this low here, which was late 2022, we got the double bottom, ascending triangle, broke out, back to see you later, and we started to trend above the ribbon in early 2023, pretty much when, you know, XRP and Bitcoin began to get its ass back above that 20-week EMA, which is your bull market support band. And obviously we've got the confirmation break in the S&P 500 as well. So we've been in a whopping uptrend in the Bitcoin dominance. So this chart represents the power of Bitcoin in this trend, in this cycle. So when it's trending up, all eyes on Bitcoin. But at these little blips to the downside, this is where, you know, you can see big pushes in altcoins. So just this little push here from, I think it's October into January, we did see some opportunities in this drop here for some of these altcoins to begin to pop off. Just there, late last year, I think it was in October and November, you know, this little drop into the ribbon of support was an amazing time for XRP. And I was looking at this chart in confluence of this neckline and this drop towards the ribbon for this vertical that I forecast for XRP, for anyone paying attention. Then as we found support, we began to trend back up, and just this little drop here, it was confluence. Okay, we're in this trend line again, we should come back into this ribbon. This is the confluence in this particular chart where, you know, Ethereum should absorb some of this dominance, and it did exactly that. So this little pullback, we saw XRP breakout. This little pullback, we saw Ethereum breakout. So I think those two have done the moves, basically. They've had their big moves in this cycle. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's just simple logic, and, you know, it's reflected by the fact that they are you know, doing well above their bull market support band, but they've seen that big violent move already. So in this little loss here, we come down to the ribbon, we're toying with losing it, we're consolidating under it. If we see another little drop here, I think it's like it was there, where you'll see, you know, your altcoins popping off, you know, your total 2, your total 3 charts as well, your others charts breaking out into upside, basically. So the move now is not necessarily in XRP anymore or Ethereum, it's basically in your altcoins, and this is why you're beginning to see some moves. So one of the coins I'm looking at obviously is Fart Boy. We've got Hyper, which is doing really, really well for us, and obviously Cardano, which I've shown you earlier in the video right there on the index. It's just sitting in the neutral zone. I think Cardano's under the radar, and there is a God candle back test around about 190, I think it is, and we've been looking at that since around about 28 cents when we got back in. in 2023, I think it was, I can't remember, but we're just looking at and patiently waiting for that retracement into that God candle back test right there. And who knows, Cardano may even break that and go parabolic, and no one's got a crystal ball. But at the minute, we are seeing this loss of the ribbon. So if we can, transition into yellow and then print the red sell dot, okay, we may be in for a good time where we start to see a waterfall in this chart. But if we do start to see the waterfall in this chart, then I think, unfortunately, it is the end of the cycle, okay, for the crypto markets. And at that point, I will flip bearish and try and pinpoint the absolute top for us to exit this market, okay? So let's dive into the XRP chart. But so far, so good. We're riding these waves, we're doing incredibly well. But from this point, like I said to you, XRP season, Ethereum season, right now altcoin season, if this drops and we see it do something like that, I think we're going to see some verticals across the board in some of these altcoins. And one of the key meme coins that I'm targeting is Fartboy, okay, and it's doing really, really well for myself and my community since picking up in January 2025 right there. It's done incredibly well for us so far, and I think that may continue. And if we see this little drop in the dominance, I think it could be about to go vertical. So let's dive into the XRP chart, see what we can see, okay? Looking at XRP on the daily time frame, it's doing really well. You've broken back above the bull market support and obviously the CoinsKid ribbon in a buy zone. Look at that, it's trending. It's in a lovely uptrend at the moment, is XRP. But again, I can't guarantee that we're going to see this final fifth wave to the upside. It's all about, S&P 500. It's all about that total 2 chart I'm showing you. It's all about the dominance. If we can see that breakdown and continue, then obviously we've got the confluence that we will see that fifth wave here for XRP. But respectfully, at the moment, we did find that beautiful low down there in April for anyone paying attention. It was a simple God candle back test just there. We came down into our buy zone 164. I think it came down to 161. It broke back above the ribbon, had the ABC back, basically holding that low in a retracement, and then it's broken again. So technically what I'm looking at is this was the bottom, this was a 1 into a 2, you've had a 3, and right now you're gearing up for a final fifth wave. Now if we fail to see this final fifth wave that breaks above this red line and loses this green line, then obviously this is an ABC. It's a corrective 3-wave move to the upside. At that point we've got to project down. If we lose this low, I think we've got to project down, okay? That possibly this was the top of the run, some kind of W, some kind of X, and right there will be in some kind of Y wave, a macro drawdown for XRP. So we need to see this final fifth wave to the upside for XRP. So I'm looking at confluence across the board that is the case. And I think we've got it in the total 2 chart, and obviously in the S&P 500 chart, and obviously the breakdown that we're seeing in the dominance chart. But like I said to you, at this point, I know everyone's expecting a continuation vertical, but I do think if XRP was going to do something like that, it would have already done it at this point, okay? And this is why I did relay to, I just think XRP's run out of steam. So I think it will meet my minimal target on the next impulse around about $4 plus, okay, in this minimal target. But obviously, if it comes back here and retraces, like I've taught you, the greater you retrace, the greater the impulsive pace, okay? So I actually think my primary at the moment is really simple. We had an A into a B into a C, okay, for XRP. We were cooked at this level last year. That was the final wave of a third impulsive move. Then this has been a wave 4 correction, and right now it's your final fifth wave to the upside. So that's currently my primary, but it can change if XRP loses that low before taking out that high, okay? So that is currently my primary outlook for XRP. Really simple. Take that high out, fantastic, price discovery, minimal $4.13, lose this low, it's not a good look, because it would indicate, okay, this was the top of the move, and since then you've been in some kind of crash and correction for XRP, where you've had a monster A into a 3-wave B, and then you've got a massive 5-wave move that's dropping like that. That is currently not my primary, but obviously I have to respect the data and the structure in the charts. That is, if from this point XRP loses 191 before breaking 36549, then it's a 3-wave move up. It's not an impulsive move, and at that point you've got to project down, okay? And that's just simple charting and technical analysis that we live by, basically, the 3 waves and the 5 waves. So we're looking for this final fifth wave, and again, like I've taught you, if we do get another final fifth wave here for XRP, where we've got something like that, the 1, the 2, the 3, and right now you're in a 4, and then your bottom and your top, you're in 5-wave territory, with the S&P 500 hitting that 2 fib, with total 2 breaking out, with the dominance breaking down. I think that's the last leg, basically. So anyone expecting us to continue at that point, I think you're doing it wrong. But obviously, it's just me respecting the 5 waves to the upside, okay, which is something I've always done. So basically, my primary at the moment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's a wave missing here, and obviously, I'm looking for the invalidation. The invalidation is failure to take out that and lose that. It changes the game here completely for XRP, because this would be a 3-wave move to the upside, not an impulsive move. So the support is really easy. It's that, your wave 2, okay? So this pullback can do something like this, pull back into wave 1, holding wave 2. If it does do it, fantastic. You've got a great appreciation in the final fifth because you've got a leading diagonal, and I've already gone through that in multiple videos with you. Because what you could do really simply is drop a trend line from here all the way on this neckline just there. This will be your neckline for the future resistance of the final fifth wave if you fall into territory of wave 1. So this wave 1 high sits at roughly 2655. If XRP pulls back into that anytime soon, then it's a greater opportunity, in my opinion, for the next leg up to the upside, because your next leg up to the upside from this zone here, if this is the bottom, to go to 1.272, you're looking at a minimal target around about 397, the 1414 at 414, and the 1.618 at 440 for XRP. Okay, so where you got some kind of 1 into a pullback 2 into a 3 into a 4 that was done, and then a final fifth wave that comes up to this zone here with a 1.272 hitting the fib, and obviously the S&P 500 in that fib as well, then I think we'll incur some kind of correction. But if XRP can do something like this and pull back, it should respect the neckline. So you're in a greater appreciation and a slingshot to the upside, which is pretty much what we got way back down here in January of 2023 when we got this leading diagonal off this low as well. So I would love to see this and tell you that exactly it's going to play out exactly like it did in early 2023, but to see that, what we've got to see is basically the same here: 1 into a pullback, 2 into a 3 into a 4 that breaks the wave 1 high, because at that point it becomes a leading diagonal into this neckline for XRP in 5 waves. Currently it's not drawn down, so right now I'm looking at a weaker impulsive move if it doesn't draw down, and the proof may be in the fact that it's just not moving as great as other coins right now. Okay, but I do still remain bullish on XRP. I'm not perma bear, perma bull, whatever. I'm just trying to ride the waves with you and always trying to find opportunity. At the moment, we are trending above the ribbon. We're doing really, really well. We're running to this resistance and neckline. If we can close above, have a little pullback in this neckline, create a high low, which is your inverse and shoulders pattern. I think we break out, but I'm looking at these minimal targets. I don't think we're going to go exponential there. But again, I could be completely wrong. But in time, once XRP takes out this range here and comes up into this zone, I'm looking for data points to tell us to exit. The retail top, the dominant indicator, the waterfall in the dominance, many other things looking at in time as well for that particular conclusion. Okay, we're at this market, but at the minute I'm still in the market. We're still riding this. We're doing incredibly well for XRP. Hope you understand the update. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Back soon with another update on XRP. Bye bye.